Okay, and we are back, hoping that Rhenda Saporito can join us. I think there is some sort of trouble trying to connect the video, but hopefully we will be able to go live with Rhenda. And she just needs to accept me right now. And there we
Okay.
are.
Hey.
That is perfect. Hello, my friend. Welcome.
Well, thank you. I'm delighted to be here with you.
Oh, I'm so excited that you're here. I have worked with you in the past. I've probably known you for about 5 years now.
Right.
And we cross paths in the Art Academy in New Smyrna. We did a workshop together with Steve Amony, and that's how our friendship began. And I don't think we've ever would have crossed paths if it wouldn't have been for Steve. So kudos to him for making this incredible community of artists, and so we can be all together and help out. And we as individuals are pretty strong, but together we are so strong. And this is the whole purpose of tapping into your creativity and helping others at home take their minds off the noise that's happening right now. So to further ado, I just would like to say hello to you, and please tell us who you are, where do you live, what kind of artist are you?
Well, I'm Rhenda Saporito, and we live here in New Orleans, which we're very lucky. We love our city. And I do abstract mixed media. And mixed media meaning that I'm going to use possibly pastels. I just found this when I was cleaning up a minute ago. So I'm pretty excited because
What kind of pastels are those?
these are Sennelier oil pastels.
Okay. So let's keep going of who you are.
Okay. So I started painting about 30 years ago at the New Orleans Academy of Fine Arts, and I went there for 18 years. And I mean, when you talk about a community and you talk about a city, we are so lucky in New Orleans to have the Academy, the artists that we have there, Osikos Ozos, who was my first teacher there, took color theory from him twice and could certainly take it again. But we've got such a great community here. So after about 15, 18 years, I had a studio with another friend of mine, Karen. And then the hurricane came and we lost our studio, and we lost a lot, as you know, from Hurricane Katrina. So I moved home upstairs. I moved my studio upstairs, and I've been painting in one of my son's rooms, and the other son's room I use for storage.
So you lost your whole studio?
Well, we had to leave our studio because they were using it for some first responders. So we didn't. So that's how we lost it. I mean, we just lost the lease.
Got it.
So anyway, so I came home, and the beauty of being at home is if you can't sleep at night, you can get up at 3 in the morning and go up and paint. But the bad news about being at home is that there's always something else to do. So it's a good news, bad news thing. But all in all, I do love being here. I have taken over most of the house. I used the upstairs storage and painting, and then I used the foyer to cut canvases, or use the den. I have 2 or 3 chairs I can move so that I can roll out a big piece of canvas in the den. And then my husband helps me. He puts the wires on the canvas, and then we use the island in the kitchen. So you know, I have a little bit of mess here, and he's pretty organized. So when I lean up a canvas next to the TV, he says as long as he's not covering the TV, it's okay.
That's fantastic. So I see that you have a beautiful scarf.
Well,
can you tell us about your beautiful scarf?
Well, these scarves were born. I painted this painting called Cigars on the Beach, which is on the beach right this minute. It's in Perdido right now. At a good friend's house, and they're fantastic collectors. They've been very supportive of my work. And this painting was juried into the Ogden Museum Louisiana Contemporary Show, which is funded by the Hellis Foundation. And they, when the show came about, I thought, well, I have to have something to wear. What am I going to wear? So of course I thought, well, I'll have a scarf made. So I had a scarf made of Cigars on the Beach, and that one thing led to another. And then of course,
how did you come up with that title?
That's very interesting. So I had the canvas leaning up near the TV, as I told you, in the den, and I walked by the canvas for 3 weeks. And I looked at it and I looked at it and I looked at it. And one day I walked by and I said, well, any fool would know that this is Cigars on the Beach. I mean, I never had any question once that happened. So now this painting behind me is Cigars on the Beach, and I think it's Cigars on the Beach 16. So I've done a series. Some of them are large, as in like an 18. I did what you did, and I did an 18-foot, 6 feet wide, 6 feet.
It's a little challenging, isn't it?
It's a little challenging. So I did that 18-footer, which was fun. And then recently, back at ACA, I had the opportunity to do a 9-foot by 11, actually 2 9 feet by 11 feet paintings. They're also in the Cigars on the Beach series. So that series is good. When I go to the canvas, there's something that's coming out of the inside of me. I don't know what it is, and I don't know what's going to come out. You don't have any idea. But anyway, and the other thing I did along the scarf I did these pocket squares. I have 2 boys and a husband, and of course I needed a gift for them one year. So this is the painting that's in the Ogden, and so this is a pocket square, and of course you can wear it.
That's amazing. That is great.
So this has been a lot of fun.
That is amazing. Can you talk to us a little bit about the process and how you started painting? Like when you see a black canvas, especially because I know that you work usually in very large scale, which is super challenging because I've done it myself. And it can be very daunting to work on an 18-footer or even an 8 feet or a 6 foot. How is your process when you see a white canvas? How do you go about it?
Well, I happen to love a white canvas, which is not everybody's thought process. To me, when you have a white canvas, hope springs eternal. I mean, anything can happen. It can be fantastic. It can also be terrible. I have a lot of bad paintings. But when the blank canvas is there, you can do anything. You can take this now I'm not going to do this because this is finished, but you can take this and you can just start marking all over it. And then what happens is then you're reacting to those marks and you're trying to keep balance in the painting as you go. So I might work over here on this, and then you've got to get back. And when I say get back, you got to get back as far as you can. And maybe you squint down so you can see the colors, just not quite so clear, but you can feel the value of the colors. And then it may say to you, well, I need to go over here, or I need to go up here. This painting right here was done in Montreat, which is we went to a residency with Steve Imany in February. And when you've got a big studio space, you can be so free. And I love the fact that my body gets into the process of painting as opposed to painting like this. I mean, I have a really hard time painting on something small. I like it sometimes to counterbalance the big paintings.
Right.
But this is through a whole process, and I painted on it for a while, and then I didn't like it, and then something said to me, well, I need to go over here and do this. So when you've got 2 or 3 things, or if you're painting small, you can have 6 out at the same time. You can work on them in a series. They have a common thread, but yet they're all different. And I'll show you this other painting in a minute.
Do you usually have a color palette in mind before you start?
No, I have nothing in mind before I start, except now I'm really concentrating possibly on the size. So the thing that I have in mind is the size. So I know that this painting, when it gets stretched, because of course it's not stretched. It's going to be 47 by 66. And I happen to like that size because it fits in my car. You know, some of the things that we do are all about necessity. So I can take this to somebody. Now this particular piece is going to be shipped out, and these collectors are going to be stretching it in their hometown so that I can ship it to them, and it's just a more convenient way to do it.
So I think that you and I have a very similar approach when we are painting so large. It's almost like a dance that we have with our canvas. We go back, we see it, then we come in, we make our marks, we go back again. And it is this communication that you have with your canvas, and you're dancing with it. And you're not thinking so much in the beginning, because if your thought process gets in the way, then I think it affects the result on the canvas. So as long as you have the movement with your body using different brushes and different strokes, then it kind of starts speaking on itself. Correct?
Exactly. It will speak back to you. I mean, for sure.
Yeah.
And a lot of times you've got to walk away from it and be away from it for a day or two or a week.
Right.
Or 3 weeks.
Right, right.
The beauty of, I do like working on the wall with these super big tacks. So I've got another painting underneath here that I was working on previously. And the beauty is, I mean, it's dry, but the beauty is I can put this on top. Now I have to sign this and then ship this out. But I can work on 2 or 3 of these. So even though my studio is not very large, I still have enough room just to kind of work around, and I can hang enough of these up.
What do you think it's the difference from working on a loose canvas versus a stretch one? What do you see as a better thing, or not, or it doesn't matter? What do you think about that?
It definitely matters to me. And now I'll work on an already stretched canvas if it's a smaller size, like a 30 by 40 or 36 by 36. I don't do a lot of 36, but I love this because the wall is back here, so I can take my marker. I'm just going to use this paint and I can take my marker and I can scratch into this, and I've really got, you know, I can really go in there. And if you're working on a canvas that's already stretched, then the canvas is going back and forth. And so I much prefer to work like this. And then when these sell, if they're out of town, I ship them rolled up. If they're in town, then of course we deliver them.
So all of our friends want us to talk about the Rhenda rule.
Okay, all right.
So you are famous, my friend, for your Rhenda rule. What is it? And tell us about it.
So the Rhenda rule is that when you get to a certain point, before you go too far, everybody asks the question, how do you know when you've gone too far? Well, the answer is, I don't. So the Rhenda rule is when you get to a certain point, we Rhenda rule it, and you don't touch it for 2 weeks. And then you come back and you look at it. And by the time that 2-week period has passed, a lot of things in your life have passed, and you're able to come back and look at it with fresh eyes. There are many people that will say they'll turn it to the wall or move it out of the way, but that way you don't overdo it, because also many of us take photographs as we go along. And I'll take a photograph and I'll get to a certain point and I'll go back and look at a previous photograph and I'll think, well, I should have called the Rhenda rule on myself. So do as I say, not as I do.
And also you speak about the gritty getting
calm.
Gritty calm, or gritty getting pretty. Talk to us a little bit about that.
Well, another thing that I love about abstract painting, and I'll have to tell you this too. When I started painting, I wanted to paint abstract because I thought nobody would know if it was wrong. Right. Well, that's where the problem comes in, because I'm the one that knows if it's wrong. And one of the things I really want is a really fantastic paint quality. And the paint quality, so this is gritty in here, but then you've got the calm. I don't want to be totally in such chaos that I have nowhere to rest. So I want somebody to see activity, but then have a resting feel, right, without it just being all over the place.
Right.
Because what I say is I paint into and out of chaos. So I paint into chaos because I'm doing these random marks. I have no idea. I don't know which paint I'm going to pick up. Now, sometimes I plan if I'm going to mix a particular color. But most of the time, if I mix this much paint, then that's how much paint I have up here. I mean, it's just the way it goes. And I mix most of my paints, you know. I do have colors that I use that would be, you know, colors that are pre-done.
Right.
But
why do you think we have our friend Mariah is asking us? I know all of our friends are joining us, which is great. She's asking us, why is the gritty so important?
I think the gritty, and you're like you said, Sandra, it's gritty and not pretty. If it's pretty, it's okay. I mean, it's okay. I don't know if I have anything pretty here. But I would rather have some, what I call meat. Mariah knows this. So what I call meat, I want some meat on here. I want some of this to, I don't even know if I can explain it, but I want it to be meaty. Let's see. So for instance, this one, believe it or not, so this is a little more pretty for me. Even though this doesn't look like that pretty to the average person, maybe. This is a limited palette that I'm working on in these 16 by 16 panels that I'll show you in a minute. But this would be gritty. Here's some gritty right here. So this to me is gritty.
Can you show it closer in?
Yes. Oops.
So you can talk about it as we're looking at it.
So this is layers and layers and layers of paint, and then, you know, mark making tools. So this is graphite or pencil. I don't have any oil pastel in here, which is my go-to. I love oil pastel. But I'm taking a CVP course with Nick Wilton right now out of California. Actually, he's in the same studio where Mariah is in ICB in San Francisco. And these are panels. He does 12 by 12s. I'm doing 16 by 16. So these are layers and layers and layers of paint that go on.
Do you have any rules as to what materials you use? Like, do you use any kind of paint, oil or acrylic or both, or crayons? What do you mostly like to work with?
I love oil pastels. I do not paint with oil paint anymore. I have oil paint. I just don't paint with it anymore. I mean, I'm thinking about it, but probably not. The reason I like the acrylic is it dries so fast. When you finish with an oil painting, it is so luscious that I love the luscious quality of the oil painting, but I'm not willing to wait for it to dry.
Do you have a particular brand that you use on paint? Or
I use Golden. I use Liquitex. Now I'm buying white paint by the gallon because this is, number one, this is too hard for an old person to open up, you know. These things are so hard. I just can't open them anymore.
Yeah.
But now I'm buying certain colors more in a gallon. But I like Golden. I like Liquitex. These Sennelier markers. I do love these. These are Golden fluid acrylics. And the fluid acrylic, when you add this to a heavy body paint, heavy body is my favorite. So this is an old container. But when I add this to here, then I get a totally different color and a different consistency.
Right.
I like the mixture of a glaze type paint with a heavy body. So, and then.
So do you mix your colors and put them in the plastic bottles with the red caps on them? Is that easier for you?
No, these are the ones that come from Nick Wilton's from his workshop from CVP. These are Art to Life colors. So I'm using these while I take his course. But normally I'm mixing up, you know, red, yellow, blue. That's ultra. You know, just I'm mixing up my own colors, and I have certain colors that I say are my colors, and then you get somewhere and you don't have the right paint and you wonder what are your colors. So I don't know.
So our good friend Laura from San Diego is asking us, Do you have an artist that inspires you? And if you go to a museum, what types of art do you look at?
Okay, the artists that inspire me, I love, love, love Richard Devencorn. When he passed away, I carried his obituary in my suitcase for years, for years. I love his work. I've seen many of his shows. I've even flown to San Francisco, and Mariah picked me up, and I stayed in San Francisco for 6 hours to go see the Matisse Devencorn show. So I love Devencorn. I love Rauschenberg. His work is amazing to me. And I also love Joan Mitchell. After the hurricane in 2010, there was an exhibit here in New Orleans at the New Orleans Museum of Art, the CAC, and at Newcomb, the art gallery. And I couldn't wait. I was there the first day to see the Joan Mitchells and her paint. Now, there's some paint quality. There's some gritty, calm, fantastic paint quality. Her paint is so luscious.
I will have to agree with you. She's one of my heroes, too. Yep.
Well, I love it. So I went to the CAC, and I saw some things there. And a friend of mine said, well, just wait till you get to Newcomb to see her pastels. And I said, well, I don't really love pastels, but I'll go. So I went, and I'm in there, and I burst into tears. I mean, I am so embarrassed. In fact, for years, sometimes it's hard to talk about because it was such an emotional thing to see that work. And I have probably 5 of her books, and I just never really focused in on the fact that she painted these pastels. So I decided after that, I came back and I started painting my own rendition of pastels on 11, I don't have any right here, 11 by 17 sheets. And they were my abstract pastels, but I worked in pastel because I didn't have enough room to have a big studio space. And I wasn't really ready to get back to a big canvas. I mean, I liked big canvases before, but that just wasn't the right time frame. So
show us actually now what you're working on, your table.
Okay.
If you want to switch your camera so we can see a little bit of what you're working on and how do you find this different from working on a bigger canvas?
Well, I find it very difficult, and I will have to tell you, as messy as this looks, I cleaned up for y'all. Okay, so I'm working on these in a series. So I have 6 on here, and I work on these all at the same time.
Can you show them to us? Because we can't really see them.
Okay, so these are.
Okay, so that's the series that you're working on.
Yeah. So what happens is, so I'll have all of these paints out, and then I can work on each one without totally completing one. So none of these are complete.
Okay. Do you use any collage on them?
Not at this time. So,
okay.
So right now, again, I don't know if there's a glare.
Right
now
we can see it.
Yeah. Right now we're not doing anything other than paint, and I'm doing pencil, but nothing other than paint and pencil right now.
That's great. And yeah, let's go to.
Then I'm going to turn y'all over here and let you. So this is a painting that I did in Montreat. I don't know if you can see the whole thing, but this is 14 feet long. I've got it as a vertical right now, so you can see it.
Right, and it goes all the way down to the floor, so it is enormous.
I don't know how you can see that.
Yep, we're looking at it. So do you want to talk to us a little bit about that one?
Well, this one, it's, again, necessity is the mother of invention. I had a space, and I painted right behind Mariah, and I had 14 feet. So I just rolled out 14 feet of canvas and started painting on it. And I liked it, I hated it, and then I liked it again. So it's pretty much of a U-shaped curve for me. So I start off at the top, and I really love the blank canvas. I work on it, and I absolutely hate it. It's the worst thing you've ever seen. And then it comes up a little bit later, and I go, well, that's not that bad. And then when it gets finished, I say, well, I wonder how I did that, because I really have no idea.
I think it's important to for our viewers to understand that, we go through this process with our own paintings where we love it, we hate it, we doubt ourselves, we go back, we love it, we turn it around, we let it breathe, we come back to it. And I think that, you know, people think that any professional painter just goes at it and, you know, they have a great painting. And it couldn't be further from the truth.
Right.
We go through 100 paintings to get to the one that we like. Stephen talked to this matter about this, you know, how, you know, you can make 100 to sell, but out of that 100, maybe 5% is really good, and the rest, not great. So I think it's important for our viewers to understand that we go through that process of the ups and the downs, of being inspired, of not being inspired. I think this time is definitely a very uncertain time in our lives. And a lot of artists are getting, you know, stuck. They don't know how to unstuck themselves. And it's very valid to feel what they're feeling right now. But I think that by doing this and helping others getting creative and know that it's okay to have that moment and to, you know, take a few steps back, it's okay.
And the other thing is, a lot of times, I remember working on a painting in at Atlantic Center for the Arts in New Smyrna this last time, and I hated this painting. I couldn't figure out what to do. So the fact that it was so bad, it didn't matter what the next thing was I did. So I did something that I never even thought about doing, and it came to be one of my, what I think was one of my strongest works. And it was all about, a lot of time, another one of my teachers, Allison Stewart, told me it's all about the struggle sometimes. And when you see art and you think, oh my gosh, I love that, or I really like the way that artist paints, but it's hard to get there sometimes. And it's sometimes it's really fun. It is really fun, but sometimes it's not. And so it's like having a job. So
right,
sometimes you love your work, sometimes you don't, but you get through it. And right, whatever you're doing that is not working for you right now is going to inform you on the next painting, or the painting, you know, 30 days from now or a year from now. So it's all about growth.
Yes, I 100% agree with you. And I think that, you know, we all start at a starting point where people just say no. You know, 150% of the people will say, I don't like it. It's not good. And you just keep, if you have the passion and the love for it, you wake up every morning and you go at it and you do a little something. It doesn't matter what it is. It could be being in your studio and just organizing, but just being in that environment will help you get up and start again and doing it again. So let me ask you something. Will you tell us 3 lessons or 3 tips that will help our beginner artists to start getting inspired and create art?
Well, one thing is you need to really start listening to yourself when you're walking, and look at what you're seeing. You might walk by a doorway. I walked one day and I saw this broken sidewalk, and I took a picture of it and I posted it on Facebook years ago. And I said, oh, this is the coolest thing. Well, this friend of mine was afraid that that was in front of their house. And I'm thinking, well, it'd be fabulous because it was a great cracked sidewalk. But if you will just start out, you can paint on the back of a grocery bag. You know, you can paint on anything, and really all you need is red, yellow, blue, black, and white. And you don't have to have any fancy paints. You don't need some particular brand. Just go get something. It can be finger paint. When you look at what these children paint, we're all trying to get back to painting as if we were a child. I mean, I'm working hard on it. I'm not getting there, but I'm working.
Right.
Because they're so uninhibited. So I would say just get the red, yellow, blue, black, and white. If you see some other color that you really like, get it. But you can mix most colors, you know, from those colors. And I will say this, though. I do like, I like gel medium, gloss, and matte, which I'll show you. I use this is gloss. And
can you bring it closer in so people can see what it is?
Okay, so this is Liquitex Gloss Medium, and this is Liquitex Matte. Now, for me, when I'm doing my painting, I decide while I'm painting if I want something to be matte or gloss. And I mix this medium in with it as I paint. So that is a conscious thing I'm doing, even though it's like I really wanted this to be gloss. So I put gloss medium in there when I painted it. Because I like.
And is that a way to seal your painting at the end as well?
It does seal it, but I don't want to be all gloss or all matte. Because, for instance, this right here, this is an oil pastel. And so that is very matte, very flat. So I want to, if you look at my painting from the side, I want you to be able to see, as Aimee says, the topography of the painting. So I want you to be able to see the high gloss, the say satin type look, or the matte finish. So this is matte. This is high gloss. This is actually a marker that you use to paint on cars, believe it or not. This right here, Betty Perry told me about that. That's another beauty of going to all these workshops, is you get to meet so many fantastic artists, and from all over not just all over the country, but all over the world. I mean, we painted with some good friends, Dana from Australia. So you get to meet these people from all over, but they've all got something to bring to the table. They've got their art to bring to the table, and they all have different tools that they use. So you find out about a different brand of paint. You know, you might find out about a different, marker like this. I mean, I love these markers because they're so fabulous.
Yes, so, and I think you finish it off with that. I think any oil crayon that you use, you know that you're going to do that at the end, because it's not going to, dilute with water. So,
right. And I don't mind, and a lot of people are worried about putting any acrylic paint on top of an oil pastel. That doesn't bother me because I'm doing what I would say is mixed media.
Right.
So the fact that I'm putting acrylic on top of oil just doesn't matter to me.
Right. I
mean, and if it doesn't exactly adhere, that's okay too, because again, it's mixed media.
Can you show your markers that you use?
Well, I have these, and then let me see these. This is so exciting because I just got the box, and I haven't even opened them up yet. But these are so cool. So,
can you show the box as well?
Yeah. So this box is. These are solid solidified paint for high temperature.
Great.
And they are. There we go. So let's see. And they dry really fast. So let's see.
Yeah, that is great.
This is going to be dry in like 5 minutes, which is totally different from an oil pastel.
Oh, I love that. That is amazing. Yeah. So people are saying that some of they're cutting out. So if you have trouble with that, just get out and come back into the live, and you will be just fine. Rhenda, where can we find you? Where are you?
Well, let's see. So I'm at Rhenda Saporito Art on Instagram. I have a personal page, but that's where I have all my cute grandkids. So my art page is Rhenda Saporito Art, or rhendasaporito.com, and then there's a Rhenda Saporito Art on Facebook, and also have a Pinterest page, which is another great place for those of you who want to look at art. Pinterest is a good place. So, go follow me. And I have an email list. I don't send out a lot of emails, but if you want to get on my email list, you can do that on the website.
That is terrific. So what I'm going to do after we're done is I will make sure that on my Instagram, I will post everywhere where you can be found. And people are very interested in those markers. They love them. So we'll post that too. And I'm not a professional, like I said. I'm an amateur. I'm trying my best to, you know, inspire people at home. And I just literally opened a YouTube channel, Sandra Felly Art. So I will be posting this video there because it's too long to post on my Instagram and the IGTV. So I will post on YouTube and as well as Facebook, and I will tag you, Rhenda, so you can do the same thing. And I can't thank you enough for joining me today in my studio and helping others see your amazing creativity and your beautiful work of art. You are an incredible, incredible artist and friend, and thank you so much for joining me.
Well, you are welcome. I'm so glad to be here. I do want to give a shout out. There's somebody that's on here today. It's my mother, and she just celebrated her 102nd birthday last Wednesday. So I want to tell my mother happy birthday. And because my vision is not that great, I can't see who else is on here. So I want to tell all of you, thank you so much for tuning in. The community that we have with this art is just unbelievable. And now whenever I go anywhere, all I do is seek out other artists to go visit, you know, whether it's New York or San Francisco or Minneapolis or Florida. It doesn't matter where it is. We're going to get to travel again sometime soon. So
yes, we are. And you know what else? We are going to get all of the inviting guests in my studio. We're going to get a 10 by 10 piece of art from all of you. We're going to find a collector that will buy the whole collection of incredible art, and 100% of the funds will go to a food shelter. So like I said, we are strong by ourselves, but there's nothing better than to have an army of artists that are going to make a difference in helping out in this very, very trying time in our lives. So your mom, I can't believe she's 102 and you were able to celebrate with her, which makes me so happy.
Well, not only 102 and had a birthday, but she's on Instagram. How about that?
That is amazing. So I'm so happy. So happy birthday. What's her name?
Her name is Agnes.
Agnes, happy 102 birthday. My goodness. We all wish that we can live to that, you know, those years in good health. And you look fantastic because I saw a picture of you. And I'm so happy to celebrate life at this moment. This is unbelievable.
Yes,
so
really. Thank you so much, Sandra. And thank you for everybody who tuned in. And I can't wait to visit with everybody and paint on.
And you know what? Our next guest artist will be Amy Farnett-Siegel on Saturday. And I can't wait for that one. So tune in on Saturday at 12 o'clock Central Time in my studio again. So thank you, everyone. Thanks, Rhenda.
Thank you. Love seeing y'all. Can't wait to see Amy on Saturday.
Take care.
Bye.
Bye-bye.